This is Thiago Ricieri. He helped build Pluto TV to a $340 million acquisition.
But Viacom is making a big deal of this.
10 years at a startup, it went from zero revenue acquisition by Paramount for $340 million.
So that's pretty fast growth.
Yeah, that's true.
But departed the corporate life to go full digital nomad and go all in on SaaS products.
What does the exit look like for a business that size?
It takes a long, I got my options sold. I think it took being yourself is not the solution to the problem. The solution problem is capture attention and then...
So for someone that's sort of starting out and they know they want to go into business, they want to derive an income, that maybe they're not too sure the route to go, and what's sort of the skills that you recommend they acquire first?
Like if you just go out of uni and you want to do something that is high return for the rest of your life, just...
So, Thiago, thank you very much for allowing us to come to your villa and film this podcast with you today.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much, dude.
Yeah, it should be amazing.
So, to explain to the viewers a little bit, maybe you could sum up, maybe in like 2 sentences, where we are, who you are, and what you've done.
We're in Bali right now. I'm Thiago Ricieri. I'm a software engineer starting a new journey as a SaaS founder. And what I've done, I spent the past 10 years working at a startup that I helped build the main product. It went from zero revenue to an acquisition by Paramount 6 years ago for $340 million. And then since then, that startup became a unicorn. It's effectively a subsidiary of Paramount today, but it has a unicorn type of revenue going on.
What a journey.
Epic.
Yeah, that's great.
Epic.
Awesome.
So maybe you could take us sort of back to the start. Where are you from? Sort of the starting journey of how this all happened.
Yeah, so very to the very start. I'm a Brazilian. I was born in the countryside of Brazil, and then I moved to a city at the south, which is like a BDC, but not as big that you will know about it. The name of the city is Curitiba. Nobody heard about it, but it's a great city to live. I spent my younger years there, and there I was playing a lot of video games, and with my brother. I have a twin brother, and we played a lot of video games. And because I loved to play video games, I decided that, well, I want to make video games too, because that's so fun. And when I was a little child, I was also used to make games, like paper games with my friends. They're awesome stuff, create some worlds, and then get them inside of play games, things like that. So I decided, well, maybe I will make games now because I need to choose something to study. Okay. And that sounds fun. So that got me into software because that's how you make games, with software. But then I end up falling in love with software in general, and also making games is very tough. So I decided not go that direction, but still like the whole idea of making games is what got me into software. And then from there, I fall in love with software, all the things that you could do with software. Internet was exploding at the time. And then one thing takes me to the next. I started working on the startup in São Paulo. It was a startup that was kind of doing the same thing, was innovating in the TV scene. And then that startup didn't work out that well. But then because I work on that startup and I have some experience with video and programming, and I have experience with media too, that got me into Pluto TV, which is the startup that I mentioned just moments ago. And then I got hired there. I was one of the first engineers. Actually, until I left 1 month-ish ago, I was the oldest engineer in the team, beyond the CTO that is still there in the company. So yeah, that's where I come from.
Did you study anywhere at like a university to get into this? Or just went straight in?
Fun fact, I never formally studied software engineering, although I built a career 20 years on software engineering. So my formal education is media advertising. And I end up working, like Pluto TV is a media advertising business. All our business model, all of their business model is based on ads. So having that background kind of helped me to understand the business better and create a product for the audience.
Great. And do you think that helped you get the role at Pluto, having that qualification in the back end then?
I don't know, they didn't hire me specifically for that qualification. They hired me because I was able to do the job that whenever you start in startup, all that you want is people hunger for making something great and willing to do the work. That's all that you want. The qualifications are like no startups, unless you're AI and stuff like that. You need smart people, like the cutting edge of technology. The rest of startups, you just want people to work and embrace the vision. That's where I was at. So my formal education on uni was not the decision factor, but the knowledge that I got at uni helped me understand the business better and help to make the product better for the audience.
Awesome. And was Pluto TV in Brazil when they hired you? How did it work?
They were not. They actually, when we launched Brazil, I trying to remember when it was, but I think it was 2019 or 18. I was super proud because for the first time, my parents could see exactly what his son was working on, and in fact, my dad uses the app up until today, like his favorite app, because he has all the old Wild West movies that he used to watch when he was a kid.
Right. Awesome.
Cool. So maybe we can clarify a little bit for the audience. What is Pluto TV?
Oh, Pluto TV is like Netflix, but for free. And yeah, that's like TV on the internet.
TV on the internet. What's the revenue model?
The revenue model is monetizing with ads. And we start doing that at the time when Pluto TV started. There were no model with monetizing with advertising beyond YouTube. YouTube was monetized with advertising. Everybody knew about AdSense, that Google made that. But there were not much like development on the video AdSense at the time. And Pluto TV became a big player in developing that scene for creating creatives, for bringing advertising to video and then streaming platforms, not only YouTube, but also other streaming platforms that benefited from having video advertising.
Interesting. And were you always interested in getting involved more with startups and founding stuff yourself, like a drive for business, rather than going into a big corporation? Or did you just...
Fun that you asked that, because Pluto TV became a big corporation. Yeah. And before, I had always been either like entrepreneur myself or like to make stuff. I'm heavy on the product side. And then when Pluto TV came along, I liked the idea of building a new product and working on a startup, but I never formally worked on a big corporation, not as big as Paramount. And then after we got acquired, that was my first experience working on a big corporation. And I think I was fortunate enough to see the entire curve of how startups come to be and become big. Because, yeah, after the past couple of years, we are just a corporate job, like just a corporate structure, normal, that you see on movies and stuff like that. Like all the bureaucracy, everything's there. Is there a lot of friction when it gets to that sort of size of a business? Does it lose the focus of having a small, tight team? That is the innovator's dilemma. Like once you nail something, the problem is that when you get to a certain scale, it's hard for you to change things fundamentally so that you can innovate again. And innovate again, you could break your own business model. How many times we saw that happening? For example, Google. Google had the technology for AI, and they did not disclose because that could kill their search business. Now they're catching up because like that's the innovative dilemma.
Yeah, interesting. So at the start of Pluto TV, at the start of its conception, how far along into the business's startup did you sort of join?
They founded in 2014. And I joined right after in 2015, the 14 and the 15, I joined May 15. And yeah, that's 1 year later, it was founded.
How big was the team when you joined?
Oh, the team that I joined inside of Pluto TV was like 10, and then like the engineering team. Then of course we have other people working in the startup too, but my direct reports, everyone was like 10 people.
Sort of scaling up the business. So it was between sort of 2014 or 2015 and 2019. So that's about a 4-year time period was it a $350 million acquisition by Paramount?
$340 million acquisition.
Yeah. So that's a pretty fast growth for
yeah.
So how quickly did the team expand from
there was a moment when like at every seed round, we were validating certain hypotheses. And when we validated that we could serve as with a TV-like experience, that's when the size of all teams exploded, because we needed to hire as many people as we could to implement the next roadmap that will take us to the next stage. Because we were getting, after establishing the system, we were getting ready to scale to other countries too, and then scale the system even more within US and within other expansion to other countries. So at that moment, we needed to hire as much people as we could. Yeah. And my team grew from like, I started by myself. Like we had different apps in different platforms. So I own one certain platform. I have another engineer working with me. And then I started working on the Apple platform. And then my team grew from like 2 people to 3 people to 5 people and then suddenly to 15 people.
15 people. Wow. And you moved from sort of engineer to management of engineers?
Yes, eventually. Yeah, because...
What sort of difficulty that comes with that, with managing other people? Did you have experience with managing them before?
I learned in the job, actually. Yeah. I learned in the job. And that is funny, because when I started managing people, I truly believe, because that's how I did it, that when somebody tells you to do something, you do the something. And then I realized that it's not like that. You tell people to do something, and they will interpret that message in different ways. And then the next part of my career in that moment became to understand how to manage people, how to lead them, how to remove obstacles, and make sure that everybody has everything that they need, and that we are clearly speaking the same language.
Yeah. Interesting.
Did you have any preference on? Did you prefer to work just by yourself as an engineer, or did you quite enjoy the management?
I still work as an engineer. Like you gotta see. I still love software. I still love making software. For me, it's like solving a puzzle. Of course, that when you do it by yourself, you don't have scale enough to have a big business. And that's when the management skills and like all the stuff come in handy, because then you have other people that will do the coding for you. But I still enjoy writing software. It's something that I will definitely not stop doing for the rest of my life.
Awesome. What were some of the languages used for coding Pluto? Was BrightScript one of them?
Yeah, so I was hired to work on Android, which is Java.
Yeah.
And then after working a little bit on Android, we hired another guy that took care of the platform. And then I work on the Apple TV. Like in 2014, Apple launched the new Apple TV. And the Apple TV with apps didn't exist before 2014, if I'm not wrong. And I built the first app of that company on that new platform. So that programming language is Swift. Apple has just changed from Objective-C to Swift, a bit of nerdy terms. And then after building that app, we have this other platform called Roku that was also getting big in US, and we needed to be there because we are a streaming platform, so we need to be as many clients as possible so we can get the audience. So, but they had a different programming language. It's called BrightScript. Super clunky, and my personal technical opinion, super clunky, terrible language, but it was the language that the owner decided to use for the platform. So I had to learn the language from scratch in order to help build the product on Roku too.
How did you go about learning it? Just on the job, or
just on the job? Yeah.
Again,
when you have a clear goal, things are not as hard as it seems. Like, because you know where you're going. I didn't become a professor in BrightScript, so cannot explain like all the details on why things are the way they are. I know how to use the tools to get what I want from it.
Yeah, awesome.
Is what language is it sort of most similar to? I don't know anything about coding at all.
Yeah.
Do all the coding languages have like similarities between them, so you understand like the fundamentals of how they sort of work?
They have
Or they
the fundamentals. The fundamentals are similar, but depending on the programming language, you will have more features than others. In Roku specifically, they strip down a lot of features in order to make the language simple, but it got too simple to the point that certain optimizations that we needed to do were not possible because the language didn't give us access to the resources of the machine. Yeah. It's what we call a high level language, like high abstraction language.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so Pluto got acquired in 2019 for 340 mil. What does the exit look like for a business that size that's doing a considerable amount of revenue?
It takes a longer time, and there are many people involved. For example, my case, I had options, and then I had to provide a lot of documents because I was also not in US, so I have to prove in Brazil that I had this asset elsewhere. So a lot of documentation that is involved, and for everybody involved, because when a startup wants to bring talent on board, they need to offer some sort of equity. That's how it works. And the way that it happens is that usually the startup will get an offer. The investors and founders will accept the offer. They will receive, then another entity will come into play. It is like the escrow fund,
yeah.
And they will hold the value of the transaction. There are certain terms that need to be met, and they will start unlocking part of the money to people. And then you will only know the value of your option like real down the road when they take into account some liabilities the business have, the assets the business have. There's a lot of calculations. It took from the moment it was announced in January 2019, February 2019, I got my option sold because it was a requirement of the deal. I think it took like 6 or 8 months. Wow. And I was like, for the lump sum to come. And then throughout the next 6 months, some little corrections were coming through. Like, we finished this tier, so this how much money was left after paying all the fees. So redistribute to everybody until the escrow fund was empty.
Interesting. Wow. When a business like Paramount Plus acquires a company for a large sum amount like that, the physicality of funds reaching other accounts, does Paramount Plus actually have a singular bank account with the value amount that they then distribute, or are they balancing against something on their sheets?
Oh, it depends. Like, it depends on various factors. And every company will do something different. Some companies will do stocks, and other companies will leverage the assets of the new company to get a loan and pay for the acquisition. At the time, Paramount was not Paramount, was Viacom. Viacom is the company that bought Pluto TV, but then Viacom is like a conglomerate. They owns the brand Paramount, and then later down the line they rebranded to Paramount. In that case, at that time, I think it was a cash deal because the money went to a escrow fund, and then it got distributed.
Interesting.
Yeah. Was there much information?
Yeah. Was there many
competition?
like competitors to Pluto?
Competitors.
Yeah.
There
Drive
are.
growth. Yeah.
There is one big competitor called Tubi that they started after us, and they focused on video on demand while we were focused on linear television. And we still focus a lot on linear television. The other players are coming up to linear television because linear television is when you open an app and then video is already playing, and you don't have to choose. So it reduces the amount of choices and decisions that you gotta make to start getting the value of the product, which creates like a cycle, the people coming back and not spending time to really enjoy the product. But then the competitors went to video on demand, because in order to build a linear television product, you need to also have curation, and you have to have programming. So all the decisions that you strip out from the users, you're making yourself. You're the ones deciding what makes sense in sequence, and then giving that channel to the user.
Yeah. Interesting. And do you think the competition kind of drove growth? Obviously, within every company, competition can drive growth. But do you think it was a main driving factor within most of the teams? Or?
Yeah, like it's always a bet. Like you're gonna, I think the best bet that Pluto made at the time was innovating, bringing the linear television to the internet and allowing people to have the same experience as they had cable TV or the broadcast TV, but on the internet. The same experience. Video streaming was not new, but the way that we were serving the video was new. Also, fun fact, our technology that we built, that was not my team, but a team inside Pluto TV built to serve not only all the videos in a linear form plus the ads embedded into the stream, was awarded an Emmy Awards in 2018-ish. I'm trying to remember the date right. I think it was earlier than that, maybe 2022.
It's incredible. Yeah.
So many people don't know, like the Emmys, the Oscars, they have a technical prize for the technical teams, which are heavily involved on the innovation, the entertainment industry.
I didn't realize that. Yeah,
but it's a separate ceremony. It's not the same.
Yeah, you get the announcement. The team gets off the stage.
Yeah.
It's that would be cool if they did.
Yeah,
that's incredible. Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So Pluto TV at the moment, you're no longer associated with Pluto TV. It's been acquired by Paramount Plus. Does it look?
It got acquired by Paramount. Paramount Plus is another product inside the Paramount.
Acquired by Paramount, and it doesn't follow the same revenue structure as it did before. Is it underneath Paramount Plus now?
Is underneath Paramount. Yeah. So the Paramount is confusing because they rebranded. Before it was Viacom, was easy to understand. Paramount Global is the big conglomerate that owns different subsidiaries that in different verticals. So they own Paramount Plus, which is their response to Netflix. They also own CBS, which is a news broadcast. They own the MTV brand. They own a lot of IP titles like SpongeBob, Top Gun. It's a conglomerate. So they have business in many aspects. And they also own Paramount Pictures, which is the movie studio. What was the question again?
So does Pluto TV follow the same sort of structure that it did before? Is it still free with ads, or is it
still free? Yeah,
it's still free with ads.
Still free. Because the Pluto TV was catering to an audience that was not the main audience of Paramount Plus. So it's going through a different channel, and it kind of acts as a funnel to the paid product. So you get the audience. The audience comes because it's free. And then you have that attention for you that you can advertise it to your other product, and then like as a business sense, you can decrease your CAC because the audience is already there.
Interesting. So it still really has the same core principles of when it was started up, which is interesting. That's reasonably rare.
It's very rare
for acquired companies by big conglomerates. But
and in such a space like software, it's adapting always so fast.
One thing that I think the Pluto TV marketing team did very well was they were investing heavily on branding, so people recognize our brand, and we rebranded like 4 times throughout our history, and with the huge ad campaigns, we brought Drew Barrymore in one of them, just to make sure that people recognize the brand, and because their hypothesis was that if people recognize the brand, they will come easier to the platform and they will choose us for us, not because it was just another streaming provider. And then because of that, we have how do you say is market share? The market share on the top of mind. Like we start a category on our own. It's called FAST, free ad-supported streaming television. That is the category that we started. And now we are the pioneers. I keep saying we, but that they are the pioneers on that category.
You are now, so you've exited from Pluto TV, and now you're here in Bali, in Canggu.
Yes.
You were just in Vietnam.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, so what are you building? Maybe you could share a little bit about Ghost Ship and Sharingram.
Oh yeah. So Ghost Ship is the company that I founded years ago in 2007 as my main agency that I was doing business throughout Ghost Ship. And when I was offered the position at Pluto TV, I put the company on hold. But the company is still open. I still own the company. Then when I decided to leave Pluto TV, I decided to use Ghost Ship as the company that I will move forward with as the holding of a portfolio of software products that I will own in the future. So what is next for me is that I will build different products and put them underneath Ghost Ship, and that would be my kind of umbrella brand.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. And so Sharingram. Explain a little bit about Sharingram.
Yeah, so I started this year. I built 2 products, which it's on their very infancy right now. One is Sharingram, which is just a wordplay. It's a funny idea that I had a long time, and I wanted to make it happen. Which is with all the AI going on, I know, and with social media going as big as it is today, there are a lot of chatter in social media talking about viral formats that work, and then you just use the format and you put your own spin on top of the format, and then it has a higher chance to go viral because the hypothesis is that the structure allows the people to understand the content better. And if they understand better, they receive your message, and then receive your message goes viral, stuff like that. So my hypothesis was, if I make easier for people to extract the sort of templates, templates from content and use on their own library of ideas, and then just making the whole process of writing for social media faster. That is what Sharingan is for me. That is I say this wordplay is like an insider joke, because Sharingan is the name of is one thing inside of anime.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Inside an anime show called Naruto, where this ninja guy, he uses the Sharingan to copy other people's skill, and then he gives his own spin on the skill, making the skill better for himself. So that's why
that's quite clever.
That's a really clever name.
Yeah. Only the one. If you know, you know. Yeah. So I use the problem is that thing is copyrighted, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So I build a product as a fun product for myself. And yeah, this is one of the products. The other product is GoodXP, which is another thing that I wanted to have myself. Like I said, I had this background in which I enter software because of gaming, and I love retro classic video games. The time where the games didn't have so much memory to run 3D games, and I used to play a lot of RPG, pixelated, isometric, and I wanted to make a product that gives me all the dopamine reward of achieving your goals in a video game, but actually in real life, by following the wrong goals that you set for yourself, health and fitness wise. So, for example, calories, sleep, and steps, and all this sort of stuff that are very boring for you to stick to a certain goal, but you will continue to do that the moment that you see results. But it takes you a long time to see results, and that is the part where a lot of people quit, because it takes so long for you to associate the result that you get with the action they're taking. So my idea is, if I create a reward loop that gives the people the sense of making progress without seeing the visual progress in the mirror, that will take them 30 days, 40 days, 2 months of consistent action. So that's the type of thing that I'm trying to solve right now.
That's really cool. And with these new products, it's almost like you've gone full circle from where you started with your gaming and then progressing through a startup company, exiting, and now restarting the cycle again. It's really cool to see. And is that something like, did you miss the excitement once you kind of got into that corporate space? Did you miss the early days of a startup and being able to...
I don't want to be yet another person talking shit about corporate in general, because I understand why. I left because I found that the corporate job was starting to get to like not as exciting as the startup job. Although, of course, like you have a lot of perks, you have a lot of impact, which was something that I liked that much. The Pluto TV is an app that is still used by like 80 million people today. 80 million people today. That is the last statistic that was publicized in 20 something. So I cannot say the exact number, but yeah, a lot of people, big impacts. That was something that was I liked very much. But after some point, you start to question yourself, I'm not doing the most that I can do here, because the company just wants to go to one direction and they have enough help. So I might as well start my own thing. But I don't want to talk shit about corporate job because I understand why things get where, like I saw the entire arc. I know why things get to where they are, because that's how we run a proper business. That's why they say like, business is boring. Like if you're the success is in the boring. Like it's not only exciting. The exciting is usually just in the beginning. When you start getting boring is when the work really starts. And I respect that, but I've been doing that for 10 years. So I decided, well, I would just listen to the kid like years ago and see if I can have some fun and start something new.
That's really cool.
I think that's something that you see with quite a lot of, people who get to the success point that they've been aiming for so long. They almost like reflect and look back on the early days and the starting phases and miss the journey. And then once it gets to that, operational standpoint and they're just running the business, they say it's boring and they kind of miss the early days. So it's a common message that goes around now in the business space. It's to enjoy the journey when you can, rather than being like, I don't enjoy this right now, I just want to be the most successful guy ever. Instead of taking that standpoint, actually reflecting on where you're at and enjoying it. Yeah, and throughout my career, there is one thing I think was Jack Ma that says that until your 20s, you're only focused on the goal. From 20 to your 30s, you realize it's not about the goal, it's about the journey. But then when you get to your 40s, you realize it's not about the journey at all, it's about the company. So that is the realization that I'm getting right now. Like all the journey goals, this is ephemeral. It's like things that we invented in our heads. But the real thing is the real people that you work with. And many studies, even the Harvard study says that people that had the most successful relationships, that have the stable relationships, are the happiest at the end of the life. And that, I think that is the conclusion I'm getting right now. Like as long as I'm doing with people that I enjoy, which I was doing back in Pluto TV, like we built an amazing team. We hardly had turnover while I was there. So like I was able to achieve the goal, and then realize it was about the journey, and then enjoy the journey, and then realize it was about the people all along.
For someone that's sort of starting out, maybe they're sort of like 19, maybe they just left. I'm going to give the example of someone in the UK. They've just left like sixth form, which is like above secondary school in the education system in the UK. They're like 19. They're just about to go like on a gap year. They're not too sure if they want to go to uni. What is the advice that you would sort of give them? If they wanted to start out, would you recommend going and trying to acquire in terms of skills first? What are the useful skills that you might need to just sort of have a base fundamental understanding of business, of selling, of product development, stuff like that? Yeah,
so you definitely want to learn. Like one thing that it took me a long time, and then I wanted, after some time, it would have been nice if I learned earlier, was some emotional control, emotional intelligence about your, like, you are the person that you're, the organism you're living with for the rest of your life. You need to be a master on your own biology, on your psychology, on your own. You need to understand where are your blind spots, the things that trigger you, the things, how you respond to situation, how you respond to certain types of diet and stuff, because all of that affects the things that you achieve in life. And it took me so long to understand that I needed to understand myself better. And if I had started earlier to understand where my shortcomings stuff, so I think I would have been even more successful. So there's that. Another thing that people should understand nowadays is how to communicate on the camera. That is like very tactical. Cameras in general, for have worked on media for a long time, cameras in general are not going away. And I know that a lot of people have fear of talking to camera, but the most leverage that you have is spreading your message is by making that message available for more people. So defeating the shyness, fear of appearing in the camera and becoming someone eloquent in camera would help a lot of people and has helped a lot of people. So definitely tactically, if you have to, if you just go out of uni and you want to do something that is high return for the rest of your life, just learn how to talk to a camera.
Yeah.
Really, really real talk, because it's not going down. It's only going up.
No risk at all.
No,
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like coming out of, education, it can be quite a intimidating thing to do, because you've got so much pressure within say just a normal school like secondary school, sixth form, so much pressure from other people, and people can really let that get them down. So I think one thing to realize is once you're out, just think about yourself in terms of don't worry about anyone else's opinion. It's very typical that you hear this everywhere. It's the most typical thing you can say, but in terms of getting in front of the camera, it's only going to compound for your benefit, and realistically it doesn't affect anyone. So why should you let other people's opinions affect yourself?
Yeah, and that's what I was telling about emotional regulation, emotional intelligence, like understanding that when you understand that nobody cares, and that the people that judge you really don't have nothing to do with your life. That's what I'm saying about emotional intelligence. You have the how do I say it? You understand that their opinion don't matter, and you can do literally whatever you want, and you should not be afraid of people telling anything about you. I understand that young people derive their identity from the group, and that's why it feels so heavy to stand out from the group, because you are part of the group and you don't want to be set apart of the group. But once you realize that the group is a lie, the group doesn't really tell who you are, and you start getting in touch with yourself, you'll see that your life will get much better. Yeah,
that's good advice.
There is who says that. There was somebody, I saw a video, I don't remember who said that, but he said that cringe is an underexplored emotion. Just go make a fool of yourself. Like people fear being cringe, but it's an underexplored emotion. Like just simply embrace the cringe.
It's only cringe until it works. Until it starts.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
It's only cringe until it works.
There's a broadly on topic Alex Hormozy quote that says, "I think someone else's dream has to die for yours to live." Well, can't live within someone else's expectation of what your life should be, and also try and live your life.
Very true. Yeah.
They normally sort of collide and don't work.
Yeah.
So for someone that's sort of starting out and they know they want to go into business, they know they want to start out doing something online, they want to derive an income off a sort of online business and stuff like that. Maybe they're not too sure the route to go and stuff. What's sort of the skills that you recommend they acquire first?
Naval Ravikant said that you need to learn how to build and how to sell. If you know how to build, you will have the product itself will be your marketing, but that is what the startups does. The software startups does. They are heavily focused on the product itself, because once you have something that really, just for example, Notion is a great product. they hardly make any propaganda of this because it is so good that people talk about that thing. So knowing how to, if you're someone that likes the craft of making something, is a perfectionist, detailist, learn how to build something. And building can be software, can be a brand, can be things that require you to be detail oriented and to really create an experience for your customer that will make them talk to other people, because that's what will be your growth engine. But if you are a bit more, that is the perfect direction for people that are introverted, because they will nerd out about all the details. They will enclose themselves in a space that to make the best product, and that is the path that I choose. I spend most of my career just doing the building part, but also there's the selling part, which is creating the demand and awareness of what you're making. If you're a good salesperson, good marketer, good communicator, you can also do very well. So if you do not have the skills to build something, you should also focus on the skills of selling something or advertising something, which is the path of many content creators nowadays. They are good at bringing awareness, capturing attention, and then monetizing that attention, not with their own products. The best ones will monetize with their own products. That's when you have the most alpha, the most revenue from your audience. But if you can only do one, like just choose what, if you're an extrovert person, usually the extroverts will lean towards the selling part, and the introverts will lean towards the building part. But if you can do both, then that's when you're unstoppable. For Alex Hormozi, he learned how to build later in his career. Mm-hmm. He was focused first on advertising and selling. Mm. That's after he realized that it doesn't matter if you advertise a poor product, you need to forever keep advertising and marketing that product because it's so shit, people doesn't stay. When he realized that, that's when he started his journey of being a builder, building something that people don't leave from.
Awesome. Yeah. And in relation to those two tech categories, selling and building, you at the moment are sort of solo founding Ghost Ship. In relation to your thoughts on either building a team or sort of like solo founding versus sort of co-founding, I guess, those ideas, what do you sort of recommend? I guess it's based really on sort of the product you're building, but in terms of people solo founding versus having a co-founder on board, what's your ideas around those?
I have many, I don't have the definitive answer because the economy is so fluid that things will change in the near future. But where I'm going, co-founding is great when you have complementary skills or you have other things that the other person doesn't have, and then together 1 + 1 is 11. That is perfect. But then you have other challenge that comes with co-founding something. Solo founding, I think people choose that today, and I'm solo founder myself, not because I'm die hard on solo founding. I just came from building something on a big team. So I want some time for myself to be creative, which is something that I think will be big move moving forward, because all the tools that we have today, it removes a lot of necessity from you having help from other people. If your time horizon is long, because when you're doing it by yourself, it takes more time. Or even if you're leading a team, you're the only founder, but you're leading a team of contractors or freelancers or employees, it is still a longer horizon compared to if you have two brains focused on that, for sure. But what I'm seeing today, the solo founding part is becoming something that people look up to, because it allows them to start now, allows them to try new things, allows them to build skills that will be necessary with the moment that you start having someone to share the equity and co-found with, and that it is safer for them to test and improve those skills by themselves than it would be to get into a partnership and then it goes terribly wrong, but then every partnership is kind of a marriage, so you need to also be careful about that, who you're making business with. So and the upside of solo founding and co-founding, I think people don't see as too different nowadays. So depending on where you are, depending on what you like to do, your appetite for risk, solo founding, it does sound like a great idea.
Yeah, awesome. That makes sense. I think there's merit in both models, and it does depend on what you're building. I mean, Damn Good and both Live Story were both solo founded by me, but then Alex's skill set complemented what I needed for Live Story, so he's come on to head Live Story.
Yeah.
So I think there's also an intangible aspect aside from the skill sets as well, of like accountability and having two brains. There's sort of the accountability of having two people working on a project versus yourself, and you can sort of get lost in the source.
Another thing that
down a hole.
This is something that I think will start to get more common, because people understand the risk of getting to a marriage with other person, but they would prefer to solo found, which is fair, it's valid. Like there are their own challenges with that, but it seems that people are more comfortable in being in control of their own destiny. But I think what will happen because of that preference in the future, and also because there will be more founders in the future, like this new entrepreneurial wave that we're having right now, will only get bigger because the tools that enable entrepreneurship are being democratized and getting cheaper and commoditized. So there will be more founders in the future. It is a class on its own. And because many of them will prefer to be solo founders, either because of the risk or because they don't have enough skills, I believe this new, it's not as new, but it would be more common to see, I have my own thing and you have your own thing, and we complement each other in certain aspects. So let's make a partnership. I send you business, you send me business, or I send you business, you do something for me, and things like that. And then someone will hit a nerve in society and will become bigger, will like explode in popularity, will explode in followers, in audience and stuff. They will have a platform of their own, and that's when that person kind of becomes a satellite for other people to come alongside his journey. And that's the moment that solo founder will, if he was doing that on his own, usually is the type of people, the type of person that grabs attention easily, and then kind of become a media company on itself overnight. And then that person will eventually not be a solo founder anymore, will start finding partners and to deliver, to make products. One example, this is Logan Paul and KSI with Prime. They are the branding, while other company takes care of the business. This sort of dynamics, I think, will be much more common moving forward.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, with the expanding.
And I think actually, I think that will replace the 9-to-5 moving forward. That is a bet that I think the people working in regular jobs will decrease, not because there won't be more jobs, but because they will be starting their own companies. I think that will be a dramatic shift on the new generation. They will prefer to have their own things just because of how easy and the risk is not as big as it was in 50 years ago to start a business. So people will just start asking themselves, why not?
Yeah, it's a lot more normalized now, you know.
Lots
much pressure from society to go.
Is there enough to go around though? Yeah. For that surge of people to come into the creator economy?
That's a great question, because you have to think about, let's think about media in general. Look at Super Bowl. Why is Super Bowl worth, one spot on Super Bowl is worth dozens of millions of dollars? Because a lot of people pay attention to that event at that specific time. But the attention, that happens because of the amount of attention that they can grab at any given time. That attention is fragmenting day by day. The same conglomerates and media and persons that used to get a lot of attention are fragmenting. They're losing their influence, in favor of other people coming from smaller audience and rising up, specific to certain niches. So when you say, is there space for everybody? Maybe, I don't know about the future, but the way things are right now, it looks like there's still a lot of influence to be transferred from big corporations and big media and big celebrities. One thing that I think will end is this superstar celebrity. It won't exist anymore. Will be just local celebrities that talk with a smaller pool of audience, just because of how the dynamics of media is today. The media used to be aggregate in a certain platform, and because of that, it created this effect of the superstar. But because now digital media is so much mainstream, and it's not mainstream enough. Like, there's still a lot of people that use traditional media. So the digital media still will grow a lot. I believe that digital media will be more relevant than traditional media. So there's still a lot of growth to happen. And with that growth will be the downfall of celebrities, downfall of big media conglomerates, and all the money will go towards this new pool of creators and personas and whatnot.
The move between across from institution to individual.
Yeah.
And obviously, the fact that people's now feeds are changed to micro personalized feeds, and that's a massive change. Everyone used to crowd around a TV and connect on a singular show or a singular subject, but now everyone's feeds are super micro personalized.
Exactly.
Everyone is focused on their sort of thing, completely different to you thing, completely different to his thing. It's everyone's thing is completely personalized now, which is why we see the sort of shift.
Yeah, a lot of people complain about that effect because then you don't have that social phenomenon that everybody's talking about. But I truly believe it is better now because it gives everybody a shot to capture a large enough audience that they can use to build their lives on. I think it's literally, it cannot be more democratized than that. If anyone cares about giving the small player a shot, that you should cheer this phenomenon. You should not want to have the situation where we have a global phenomenon that everybody's talking about. You want to have specific niche things going on in your local community. I think the most concise thing that helped me a lot is you need to think in arbitrage. You need to understand leverage and arbitrage. Leverage is when you get the most out of the effort that you put in. So you need always to find the position which gives you the most leverage that will save you a lot of time and give by default give you a lot of return. And arbitrage, you need to understand what arbitrage is. I always play in the arbitrage because sometimes we make trades. So arbitrage is basically, you know that something costs you less than what you can sell that. But when I say cost and sell, it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary, economic. It can be, for example, you have access to people easily because of your charisma, because of the network that you have, and you can sell that access through something. Or you have energy, and their arbitrage of having more energy allows you to go harder on certain things and go into places where people wouldn't go. Or you have less fear, and therefore you make fool of yourself, and by making fool of yourself, you arbitrage how much people are willing to put themselves into cringy situations. So you need always to think about, in arbitrage terms, what you can get for free and sell for infinite money, or get for free and turn on, flip for more return. And you always need to get a leverage position on anything that you do, like just evaluate. For example, in my case, I could be typing down each letter of the code that I write, but I'm not doing that because the highest arbitrage that I have, leverage position that I have right now, is to ask AI to do that for me. But that requires me more skill to know exactly what to ask for and how to structure my development process in such terms that will give me the best result for the least amount of time. So anyone trying to start anything, either lifestyle business or performance business, you need to understand the concept of leverage and arbitrage. That is like your life will change forever once you realize how those two devices work.
Very powerful. Yeah.
Okay. And for someone starting, maybe wanting to start a sort of 0 to 1 business, a performance business for an exit.
It's the same thing like we were saying earlier. The performance business is challenging, is having a contrarian take. The contrarian take is nothing but just an arbitrage position. You position yourself against the majority, and the thing is, the majority is usually often right, but many times they are not. And once you take that bet, that's when you have both leverage and arbitrage. You arbitrage how much you knew compared to how much they knew. So if for a performance business, you need to have those swings larger and more often.
Thiago, you're in Canggu at the moment, and you've done a little bit of content creation here and there after exiting sort of the corporate world. How's that going for you? What's the goal? What's the goal of creating your own personal brand?
So I am this weird place that I do not want to admit to myself that I become a content creator, but it also goes against the thing that I said earlier, to embrace the cringe. But it's like I have so many things in my pipeline. I want to build a product, but I understand the power that is in marketing yourself and creating things that capture attention, which I believe is when people talk about content creation, what they're talking about is capturing attention and retaining attention and direct their attention to whatever they want. So right now, I don't believe I have something of substance to direct that attention. So any effort of capture attention will go nowhere. So hence the reason why I'm so hesitant, so reluctant about going full force on content creation. But I think it's an art form, and like I was saying, if you don't know how to build, another thing that you can do is sell. When I say build and sell, it's just from the quote of Naval Ravikant. He mentioned that they learn how to build, learn how to sell. That's what I'm gonna say. But effectively, building is the product, the fulfillment, the product size, and the selling is like the marketing, branding, and advertising. So whenever I think in content creation, I see a path for me to walk, a path that I haven't mastered yet. So which is exciting. I've spent the past 20 years learning how to build software to the point that today, if I want to make any type of software, I can. And now, but just like if a tree falls in the middle of the forest and nobody's there to listen, doesn't make a sound. Like if I build a software, nobody's there to use it, is it useful? Like does it bring any value? So it is in the back of my mind. And while I figured that out, I've been improving my skills of creating content, generally capturing content, talking to the camera, which is the thing that I mentioned moments ago that I think everybody needs to learn. Like it needs to be taught at school, because the future will not be screenless. I know that people are saying going offline, and this is a privilege. This is a privilege. People are stuck to their screens and they're not going back. Like the screens are too addictive. And I would prefer to play into that train than trying to defy reality. Yeah, but that's where my content, I know it is important, but I don't have anything to direct the attention to. So therefore, I'm not spending too much time on capturing the attention in the first place.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time to build up personal branding. It takes more time than people think. You see a 15-second video and it can take multiple days. Yeah, seriously.
It's a full-time job. You can't run a genuine business whilst also trying to do content creation full-time and stick to a good schedule. If you're doing it all yourself, you need the systems and you need the leverage in place to do both of those things.
Yeah, and I think people, there is a lot of advice online saying that you just gotta be you, gotta be authentic. Actually, you need to talk with a certain audience that will receive your message. And then, of course, if you have a lifestyle that captures that attention, then it's easy for you to just be yourself because you have the lifestyle. So it's easy. But that is being yourself is not the solution to the problem. The solution to the problem is capture attention and then do whatever you want with the attention you capture. But sometimes it's hard to capture that attention. And people say like, just be yourself, because only you can be you, and that's true. But if you're targeting a certain audience, but you are someone that audience don't pay attention to, you either choose another audience, or you transform yourself into someone that the audience pays attention to. But you're being yourself will not attract the audience that you want. It will attract some audience for sure, but not maybe the audience that you want today.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that is definitely the advice that a lot of people push out, is just be yourself, just film the process and stuff. But like, if you don't have if you're just sitting in your bedroom,
my opinion there is like, just film the process and be okay. It is a good advice because it puts you on this position in which you learn the skills that are necessary for actually making something of substance later. And then you figure out which audience you can talk to, because it's a journey, but people associate the result that they get at the end with the things that they did in the beginning. But in the beginning, you could have started completely off, but you were building the skills, and then eventually, by chance, you hit a nerve you didn't plan. Like for most of people that had the personality, they didn't plan exactly the audience they have today. They just stumble upon something that worked, and they doubled down on that. And then they had the skills because they had been practicing. So the thing about just filming content, the shoot content, is a good advice when it comes to improving your skills, to speaking to the camera, to elaborating your thoughts, your communication skills. But it's not the final solution. You will learn the final solution once you have those skills and you try enough that you hit something, and that's when you will change whatever you have and whoever you are to cater to that audience later.
Is there sort of like any AI tools or anything you're using in terms of helping out with your personal branding and content creation, anything like that? Is there AI processes?
The AI that I use today are the models that do the coding part, which is the funniest. It brings fun back to programming, because there is one boring thing about programming, that is you have to type everything, and you don't type as fast as you think. And once you get to a certain level of what you're building, you want to have leverage on moving some parts, but moving those parts requires a lot of typing. So AI brings a lot of fun back, because then you can be on a higher level and just ask AI to do the changes for you, and then you do the change fast. So that is the AI that I'm using on my own journey right now.
Cool, very nice. And where do you sort of see AI going? I know Gemini 3 just dropped, and Gemini Nano Banana Pro just dropped, which is incredible. The image generation is so good on there. Where do you see it sort of moving over the next year, I guess, in terms of the
models are the worst they will ever be right now, and they will definitely get better and better and better. Like I was saying earlier, this opens a new avenue for people to create things with those tools that they can bring. I think a lot of projects that wouldn't come to reality because they didn't have enough funding or enough interest on building them, they will be built because the people that care about them will have the tools in order to build them. And then we'll start seeing a lot of bad stuff, because not everybody is an artist. But I think AI is an art form, is a way of people expressing themselves. You're giving tools that Nano Banana is just like a Photoshop for people to create things out of nowhere. Like if you have a good imagination, you will do well with Nano Banana. If you think in systems well, you will do well with Cursor and other coding models. So the AI wave that I see right now, what I will see that will happen is that projects that wouldn't have been built will start being built. But then it comes the challenge. It is it requires creativity from people. So the ones using the tools needs to want to build something good and something creative. But I think that those creative things will find their own audience and will scale and things like that. Okay, so with these tools, you think that the barrier to entry has been significantly lowered in terms? Yeah, definitely. There is something happening in software right now, which is there is a wave of people wanting to build software products because before, creating the software itself was a barrier to entry the market. In order to have something to sell, you need to build that stuff. And the amount of people that understand technology to build for you, if you're not a technical person yourself, their time is very valuable because there's so few of them in the world. So it usually costs a lot of money to hire those people to build for you. And 9 out of 10, the people that want to build something new from scratch don't really know how it looks like. It's like trial and error. And they start, many projects die before they really complete. And I changed that significantly because this trial process, that a lot of back and forth were wasted in weeks, months of development with external teams that you hire are going to be replaced by AI. Like you can prototype any idea that you have, and in going further and creating a full-blown product from that idea with the tools that we have today. And that reduced tremendously the barrier to entry and allows people to, like I was saying, building projects that we wouldn't have seen if it was not for AI.
Yeah, that's very true.
The barrier to entry has been.
Do you feel like obviously then the competition is going to increase highly?
Yeah, the competition will increase, but one thing that I want to believe, I don't. It's like now is my opinion, my guess, is the future. We will use just like computers, personal computers, the MacBook were democratized access of technology. Not only MacBook, but Windows in general, from the technology that was used in mainframes and big corporations. The AI will give people a way for them to create their personal apps. Like we won't, for certain trends that I see happening, you will stop using this big average user app that is optimized for everybody. Therefore, there's no, like, it's completely bland, it's completely soulless. And you will either use something that was created by someone, craft for their own audience, with their own quirks here and there, with their own, like, that's the reason why I'm saying that it's an art form, because people will express themselves in form of software. The processes that exist in the world that are kind of commoditized right now, you will prefer to use the process of somebody else because that person created, because that person added their own twist. Or you will build your own. You'll be, I don't like any of this. I just want my one that is specifically to my need, and I will build my own with the tools that I have available. There's a new wave of personal apps coming up, and I think those personal apps will get an audience for themselves. Maybe it will be just like the influencers that don't have a lot of followers. It will be something like that. I think the dynamic is going to that direction.
It's like what you said with the Super Bowl too, how it's all going from all the focus on one entity to more personalized for you sort of built things, which is
exactly
very similar concepts.
If the software gets to the point where it's so unbelievably easy to code an app, what sort of effects in terms of the supply does that have on the market for software, do you think? If people can just create exactly the solution that they need in a matter of like a day or so, if they have the willingness to do so, what happens to the market for SaaS and stuff like that?
Then getting the attention, then it becomes just an attention game. Like I believe that people will start using software. Of course, like when I say that, you need to understand that there are certain types of software that you don't really care if they were built for a specific audience or not. You're just using it because it was built by someone that you like. Many examples of that would be products that one example, when you buy something from Amazon, like a fork, but you have your own twist that you want to it. So you buy a fork that has a different color, or a fork that is created for a different, I don't know, like it's a different, but it's still a fork. But you want something different. I think that software will be commoditized. So today we have a few, like there's a lot of software companies out there, but not as much as the ones that are coming into the market right now. There's a whole discussion and barrier that will come to because of security and data safety and privacy, all the stuff, because there's a lot of people that don't know how to build software, building software right now. They will make a lot of mistakes, but after we gone through all this back and forth, all of that will be figured out, and they will continue to build software that now safe, secure, private, and all of that good stuff that the corporations own today. So I think there will be this time that people will start blaming, say, oh, look at how bad it is, it doesn't work, it's not safe and stuff. We will pass that point, things will start working, and then it will be commoditized. You just use software either because your friends are using, like social networks, like Notion, or if you have a productivity tool that was created by someone that you trust, you will prefer to use that one instead of using somebody else's, just because the result is the same, but then you are part of community because of that.
Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting.
Which makes being able to capture attention even more valuable.
Yeah.
The constraint today is not production itself, it's the distribution. That is where the constraint is. So the main focus of any startup today should be not only building the best product, but also capturing the most attention, and being able to position yourself that you talk specific to a niche.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very weird to see where it can all go.
Yeah, it's
And
unpredictable,
the
isn't it?
landscape
Really,
of the market and stuff. It's very different from how markets traditionally work.
Yeah.
But it is really interesting. Now that we have a lower barrier to entry of all these tools, these AI tools and stuff. There's more information online, and it's easier than ever for someone to get into online business and to make an income online. What is sort of the way that I'm going to give you two scenarios? So one of the scenarios is for someone that just wants to create personal income online. They don't necessarily care about putting in a ridiculous amount of effort and time and building the team to create a massive product and go for sort of the unicorn route, but just wants to sort of make like $10,000 a month online, a sufficient income that they can sort of personally guarantee their own sort of financial security more than anything. That's one of the routes. The other route is sort of the unicorn route, the 0 to 1 route of creating a sort of world-changing product, creating a big team, creating a fantastic product and scaling that product to an exit. So those are the two routes. If we start with the sort of money route, if you had to give advice on the sort of best way of personally, financially securing yourself.
I will just quote, there is one guy on the internet that I highly recommend everyone to just consume. If you are someone that likes Alex Hormoz's content, you will love Daniel Priestley's content.
Love Daniel Priestley.
That guy, like, just answer all those two questions. What he said is a lifestyle business and a performance business. Like, he has the entire blueprint. I have nothing to add to his blueprint besides, like, maybe saying that is exactly what you have to do. Just do whatever Daniel Priestley says, because that is exactly a blueprint. If you're looking for a blueprint
for a lifestyle business,
for a lifestyle business and a performance business, he has both of them. He has created a lot of content online, and I would just defer to him because anything that I say would just derivation of his.
So for someone that isn't familiar with Daniel Priestley's lifestyle performance-based business design, what is sort of the summary of the lifestyle?
So Daniel has this theory that he has tested a lot of times, that you have to be able to test something to see if there's something there. If people, it's like he says, like, can you build a small team, like a co-founder, and he's big on teams, so which is contrarian to what we were talking about solo founder. He thinks that the way to go is building teams. He said that you find someone, and either you build yourself and the other person do the opposite. So the goal of the two of you is to find if you can build something and sell something, and that's what he calls a scout team. And then you figure that out. You run something to test that demand exists, and then you start collecting information from the people that will be interested in your thing. And once you once you have 30 points of data, like you talk with 30 people, or 30 people answer your survey, or 30 people join a waiting list or WhatsApp group, then he says that you have 65% of certainty that thing that you're building will fly. And then if you get 150, you get 95% of certainty that thing has legs, that you can focus on that thing, that you will make money out of that thing. For example, because those are sample numbers tested by statistics that will give you that certainty. That's why he said that you have the 30 tests and the 150 tests. Once you get those, you already have something that you can put a lot of effort, a lot of investment that he knows will turn into something bigger for you.
Okay, that's I think that's good advice in terms of securing like a lifestyle SaaS business. Yeah. In relation to building a 0 to 1 business, more of a sort of unicorn route with an exit.
You have to do something big. The startup formula is you need to disrupt $1 billion industry or like $1 trillion industry. Whatever you're building needs to disrupt something big, because in order for you to be big, you need to raise a lot of money, and the venture capital will not bet on you if you're not disrupting something big enough that money will tenfold or 100x. So it needs to be big, just like ChatGPT destroy Google search. People now go to ChatGPT more and more to answer their questions, which in the past was the perfect exchange between supply and demand. The people with the demand for something went to Google to ask for questions, and the people with supply would answer the questions and upsell them on something. That was the perfect intention-based search, which got disrupted by ChatGPT. So if you want to build something, a unicorn, you need to think big.
Be disruptive. Yeah.
You need to think in disruption, but not because disruption, not because it's destructive, not because it's nobody thought about before, but because nobody thought about before, or because you're taking a contrarian take. It means that a lot of other people just taking bets. It means it is like a lot of people taking a bet opposite to you, but you have the winning ticket. So everybody else money is on the other table, but you got the winning ticket. So you get all the alpha that comes from that contrast. And that is the reason why disruption works so well. It's not because it destroys stuff, but because of this arbitrage between what people think and what the new vision that you bring.
Yeah, I think one of the ideas of Peter Thiel is to challenge or know that the assumptions within a market are fundamentally wrong. Like the assumptions that exist within a market are wrong. For example, with Airbnb, the assumption in a market was that people didn't want to stay in strangers' house, but they challenged that assumption and found out that it's wrong. People do actually want to stay in strangers' houses, and they created a multi-billion pound business out of that. It's challenging the latent conditions and the assumptions within a market is part of creating a 0 to 1 business like that. But I think that's good advice, and I think there's good answers for both those, the blueprints, the money, and also the sort of 0 to 1 route.
And one thing for the lifestyle business, I think one thing that it took me a long time to realize is that the moment that you need to leverage the something that you do that captures a lot of attention, because then you can transfer that attention to the business that you're creating. So for example, if you're creating a small business that does something in an industry that is well established, you need to make something remarkable on that industry in order to capture attention from people for free and bring them to yourself. For example, like this guy, I don't know if there is one guy on Instagram that he bought old bowling alley for $20,000, and he created a lot of content about renovating that thing until the grand opening, and he got something boring, which is a small business bowling, but he transformed that into something impressive that brought a lot of attention to it. So definitely understand that business is just a matter of capturing attention and channeling that attention towards an offer that you have that it was specifically crafted for that type of audience, and then you can serve that audience with such efficiency that you have a lot of room left for you to capture the value that is in excess.
Part of the end of this is asking a question for the next podcast member. So if there's a question you'd like to ask the next person.
For the next person, what is something that you know today out of experience that would love other people to also know, but you know that they don't?
Good. Yeah,
I think that's a good one.
That's
okay, fantastic. Thiago, thank you. Thank you very, very much for coming on the Damn Good podcast today. I hope to see you back on again. I think there's a plethora of different things we can talk about.
Yeah.
AI being at least 10 hours of that.
Yes, yes.
But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, man. It's been great.
Okay, I think we're done, boys.
Perfect. That's right.